I'm Alexander OK, and welcome to my look at the Japanese tech tree in War Thunder. Today I'll be jumping back down to Tier 1 to look at the latest addition to the Japanese tech tree, the Ki-32 bomber. The Ki-32, or Type 98 single-engined light bomber, was one of two aircraft designed to replace the Ki-3 light bomber, a biplane, in service. The Ki-32 was designed with the Kawasaki company, and together with the Mitsubishi Ki-30, it would replace the Ki-3 when it was introduced in 1938. The Ki-32 is powered by an inline HAT-9-2B engine, which produces 850 horsepower. However, this is one of the main reasons that both the Ki-30 and the Ki-32 were put into production, because cooling issues with this inline engine meant that the more reliable Ki-30 radial engine plane designed by Mitsubishi was chosen as the Army's new light bomber. However, with the ongoing war in China, with the Second Sino-Japanese War, it was decided to put both aircraft into production, so they were basically produced side by side, and somewhat ironically, despite being the less preferred aircraft, there are actually more Ki-32s produced than Ki-30s, with around 850 airframes being produced to only 700 Ki-30s. The Ki-32 is armed with a single dual Type 89 machine gun in the back. It's based on the Type 11 machine gun. It's got quite an interesting hopper system. The Type 11 was basically loaded with standard Arisaka 6.5 millimeter stripper clips. Obviously the Type 89 here is a 7.7 weapon, and has around 135 rounds per gun, which makes me think that the single machine gun in the left wing, which is also called a Type 89, isn't the standard Type 89 we see on pretty much all the other Japanese aircraft, which is a Vickers design, but rather is just another one of these Type 11 conversions, but not putting a dual mount here. I'm dropping bombs in this point, and I rather confused myself by not realising that I'd taken the 50 kilogram bombs. If you take the 9 50 kilogram bombs, you get 4 50 kilogram bombs on the external racks, which I dropped just there, and you then get 5 50 kilogram bombs in the internal bomb bay, which you saw me taking a look at earlier. Now, the first two sets of bombs, so the 4 50s on the external racks, they drop in pairs, and then the 5 50 kilogram bombs in the internal bomb bay, those will drop separately, as you can see here. The other bomb load, which is the one I would recommend if you're attempting to grind out the skin that I'm flying with, or just use this in a ground strike role in tank harping, would be the 400 kilogram bombs, which are also carried on the external racks. Now, the max speed of this plane is just over 400 kilometers an hour. Obviously, it can go a lot higher than this in a dive, but as you can see, I'm quite happy maintaining around 430 and maintaining my altitude more or less steady. I'm dropping a little bit of altitude here. You do want to sort of worry about going too high. If you're starting to get anywhere close to 500, you will notice you will have a very, very stiff elevator. So if you are going to dive and go over, well, really around 470 kilometers an hour, you want to make sure you have plenty of altitude to be able to throttle back and pull up in time, because you lose a lot of elevator authority, which is why I'm attempting to slow down before making any more dives here. I'm going to assist this BF-109 as he dives down on that F3F. You see the F3F decides that he's going to stall climb for that BF-109, so I'm going to stoop down on this F3F biplane. Now, when making an attack, make sure you're only firing from really whatever you've got your gun convergence set to, because with the single offset machine gun, it's very difficult to get hits on target, I find. Obviously, I managed to get a kill here. If you're going to attempt to kill planes, which is difficult but possible, you want to be trying to hit the pilot, essentially. This is a very manoeuvrable plane, although obviously at 3.3 you face plenty of biplanes. You're not going to win any manoeuvrability contests against them, rather. However, it is very nippy, so against most monoplane fighters, you can surprise them with your manoeuvrability. Although with only 130 rounds for your forward-firing gun, you're sort of limited in your offensive capability. I would, if you're going to apply this in an attempt to kill other planes, I'd fly it in a supporting role like I'm attempting to here, so I'm going to go and attack the I-15, but I would never dream of attacking an I-15 by myself. I'm just attempting to help this BF-109, my other friendlies who are inbound on that A-15. So the Ki-32 was actually only in service for a fairly small number of years. It was introduced, like I said earlier, in 1938. And it obviously saw service in China during the Japanese invasion. It also saw service against the Soviets in the Nomahan incident, or battles of Khalkhin Gol. It last saw action in the invasion of Hong Kong, so that would have been fighting the Commonwealth forces there. It would be withdrawn from service in... Ignore my terror, I don't know what I was shooting at there. You see, I'm plenty fast enough to get away from this I-15, and I don't tend to re-engage until I see this friendly CR-42? Until I see this friendly Italian biplane to engage him. I turn around to go help him. Anyway, as I was saying, after the attack on Hong Kong by about 1942, the Ki-32 would be withdrawn from frontline service. It would continue to be used by the Japanese Air Force as a training plane. Obviously, this plane has incredible stall speed. It is truly ridiculous. I'll be showing you this at the end of this clip here. It would continue to be used as a trainer by the Japanese Air Force. However, it would also be sort of palmed off on the Japanese allies, including the Japanese puppet of Manchukuo in Manchuria. So I imagine it might well have seen some combat with the Manchukuo Air Force with the Soviet invasion in 1945. I find probably this is the best way to attack light ground targets. The forward gun is only good for a few passes. However, if you dive towards a target, like this AA vehicle for example, you don't want to go straight over the target, because the rear gun can't fire directly backwards. It has to fire either side of the rudder for obvious reasons. You don't need your rudder. You see the power of the rudder here as it just sort of noses over it. Honestly, this plane is ridiculously maneuverable. I sort of can't wait to see the Ki-30, which I hope to introduce. Unfortunately, I get clipped here in, well, with a radiator cooled Japanese plane. I don't want to risk it, so I decide I will go home. There is still one enemy left, and, well, I'd rather not risk losing this match, so I'm going to go home, rearm, and try and get some of these ground targets so I can even the scores of it. Anyway, as I was saying, so if you're attacking ground targets with your rear machine gun, don't dive directly at them, go off slightly to one side so that when you nose up, and you need to nose up quite far. This plane also doesn't like to, as me looking at the infantry, I didn't know they'd introduced that, but it's actually pretty cool. As I was saying, the rear gun can't fire directly behind itself, can't fire directly behind the plane, rather. If you look at the shape of the fuselage, it sort of angles down a bit, which means the rear gun is limited in its depression, which can make it quite awkward when someone is trailing directly behind you, because you can only fire slightly above them, which means you need to be climbing in order to shoot at someone who is trailing you, which is really rather awkward. Here I'm going to show you the honestly why it's sort of difficult to land the Ki-32. However, obviously, while it being a light bomber, it gets an air spawn when you do take off, even fully loaded with the 450 or, well, normally 400 in this case. Unfortunately, the enemy plane crashes here, so I don't really get you the full landing, but I'll show you that I have to go incredibly slowly. Even fully laden, I can take off in this going only 110 kilometers an hour, so you have to awkwardly waggle your plane along the runway. Bit of a bumpy landing there, but this is why I'm not pushing my tail down, because if I push my tail down until you get under 110 kilometers an hour, you'll just go straight back into the air and are more likely to crash by bouncing along the runway. So in this next clip, also going to be the final clip, I thought I would show you how the Ki-32 does in tank RB. I've got the 400 kilogram bombs loaded. This the Ki-32 sits at a BR of 1.3, which in RB battles, this puts it at the exact same BR as the D3A, which I covered in an earlier vid, and honestly it makes this plane almost useless. The D3A is a better dive bomber. Its bomb load is only marginally worse. However, having dive brakes makes it a lot more versatile, and obviously, since it's got dive brakes, and this plane actually struggles to pull out of a dive, given the elevator stiffening. Substantially better about the D3A is it's got two forward-firing guns, which actually have ammunition. The one advantage I'd say the Ki-32 has over the D3A is this bomb sight, which you can use for bombing in level fight. I see the enemy who just capped A is actually moving out of A, so I decide not to waste my bombs attempting to hit a fast-moving target, but rather I will just hover around the top of the battlefield and see what targets present themselves. I see an enemy gladiator down there. I think I might try and take a pot shot at him. And it's as I'm turning around that I see someone is starting to cap C. I can see them moving just there to the stairs at the left-hand side. Unfortunately, I sort of screw up my drop there. I drop all the bombs at once. I don't think there's much point in keeping only 200 kilograms of bombs. See, they hit the stairs, and I managed to set fire to that M8 Scott. If I'd been a little better with my bomb, I probably would have killed them. The 400 kilogram bombs is honestly quite a decent amount. Here, as I spin around, I notice the Buffalo. Where is he gone? There he is, flying underneath me, so I drop in on his 6. However, as you can see the elevator sitting here, I'm having a hard time pulling up to get shots on him. However, those shots are completely wasted because he was just taken out and I hadn't noticed. I was rather confused about why he decided to stick his landing gear out, but no, he just went pilot side. I took a few shots from the gladiator, however he doesn't have the speed to be able to get guns on target, so I fly over the top of him, and as he's attempted to do the same thing to my friendly Ki-43, I drop down on him, and he's about to put this away, shot straight into his cockpit, killing the pilot. I decide to extend away from the battle. I'm thinking of going to rearm, but this pea shooter's after me, so I make a little dive. However, I don't. This map's far too large. The Ki-32 is a fast aircraft, and I need to get back into the battle as quickly as possible. So I decide to bail out this, and that will be the end of this video. And so the Ki-32 is a nice enough light bomber, but I think it's easily outclassed by the D3A, so if you're going to use a light bomber for tank RB, use the D3A. I've now done it okay. Thank you for watching.